Welcome to English Talk for Learners, a friendly podcast-style channel
where you can improve your English through real conversations, simple explanations, and everyday dialogue.
Welcome back to our daily session of English Conversations, the podcast where we dive into the heart of the English language through real human moments. I am Jack, and I am joined today by the wonderful Mrs. Lisa.
Thank you, Jack. It is a pleasure to be here. Hello to all our listeners out there. I hope your day is off to a marvelous start.
It really is a great day. Today, we are talking about something so fundamental yet so complex, the art of the daily routine. Mrs. Lisa, do you find that your routine changes when you travel?
That is a fascinating question. I think for most of us, our routines are like an anchor. When I travel, I try to keep my morning tea ritual the same, even if I am in a different time zone. It brings me a sense of peace.
I am the exact opposite. When I travel, I throw the routine out the window and just go where the wind takes me. But at home, I am quite disciplined. Sometimes too disciplined, if I'm honest.
Discipline is a virtue, Jack, but don't forget to leave room for a little spontaneity. Tell me, what is the first thing you do when you wake up?
I hate to admit it, but I usually reach for my phone to check the news. I know. It is about habit.
We are all guilty of that from time to time. I prefer to listen to the birds outside my window for a few minutes. It feels more organic, you know?
Inspired. That sounds lovely. I should try that tomorrow. Instead of a screen, just the sound of nature. Mrs. Lisa, how do you handle those days when everything feels like it is rushing at you all at once?
I take a deep breath. I remind myself that I can only do one thing at a time. Multitasking is often a myth that leads to more stress than productivity.
I couldn't agree more. I used to try to answer emails while eating breakfast, and I ended up enjoying neither the email nor the food.
Precisely. Mindfulness in our daily conversations and actions makes a world of difference. Speaking of conversations, have you noticed how people often say, "How are you?" without waiting for an answer?
Oh, all the time. It feels so hollow. I try to make a point of actually stopping and looking someone in the eye when I ask that.
Approvingly, that is a beautiful way to connect. It shows you truly care. In English, we call that active listening. It is about more than just hearing the words. It is about feeling the intent behind them.
Thoughtful pause. Active listening. I love that term. It makes me realize how much we miss when we are just waiting for our turn to speak.
It is a skill that takes time to master, but it is so rewarding. Imagine a world where everyone felt truly heard. The misunderstandings would vanish.
Enthusiastically, let's make that our goal for today's listeners. Try to really listen to one person today. Now, Mrs. Lisa, I wanted to ask about small talk. Some people find it awkward. What is your secret?
Wisely. Small talk is the bridge to big talk. You cannot start a fire without a few small sparks. I like to ask about things I see around us. The weather, a book someone is holding, or even a nice pair of shoes. The shoes, that is a classic. It's a great icebreaker because people usually have a story about why they bought them. Exactly. It is about finding a common thread. Even the weather, as cliche as it is something we all experience together.
True. Here in the city, the weather is the one thing we can all complain about together. It builds a strange kind of community.
Community is so important. Even in our daily English practice, we are building a community of learners. It takes courage to speak a new language, to be vulnerable.
It really does. I remember when I first started hosting this, I was so nervous about making a mistake. I still get nervous sometimes.
And that is perfectly okay, Jack. Vulnerability is where growth happens. Every mistake is just a stepping stone towards fluency.
Gratefully. Thank you, Mrs. Lisa. That makes me feel much better. You have a way of putting things into perspective that is just so comforting.
I have had many years of practice. Now, let us talk about the evening. How do you wind down after a long day of broadcasting?
Dreamily. I love to cook. There's something about the rhythm of chopping vegetables and the smell of garlic hitting the pan that just melts the stress away.
Oh, I can almost smell it. Cooking is such a sensory experience. It engages the sight, the smell, the touch, and finally, the taste.
Exactly. And then I sit down without any distractions, no TV, no phone, and just enjoy the meal. It is my favorite part of the day.
It sounds like you have found your own form of meditation, Jack. That is wonderful. My evening ritual involves a bit of reading. I am currently lost in a biography of a famous explorer.
An explorer? That sounds thrilling. Does it make you want to go on an adventure?
Oh, every day is an adventure in its own way, Jack. But yes, it does stir the soul a bit. It reminds me that the world is much bigger than our own little bubbles.
That is a powerful thought. Sometimes we get so caught up in our daily stresses that we forget how vast and beautiful the world is.
Indeed. And language is the key that unlocks those different parts of the world. By learning English, our listeners are opening doors they might not even know exist yet.
That is exactly why we do this, to help people find those keys. Mrs. Lisa, before we wrap up, do you have one piece of advice for someone who feels stuck in their English learning journey?
Encouragingly, don't be afraid of the plateau. Sometimes it feels like you aren't making progress, but you are. Your brain is just processing everything. Keep showing up, keep listening, and keep speaking. The breakthrough will come. Inspired. Keep showing up. I love that. Consistency over perfection, every single time. Precisely, Jack. Perfection is a wall. Consistency is a path. What a beautiful way to end our conversation today. Thank you so much, Mrs. Lisa, for your wisdom and your warmth. It was my absolute pleasure, Jack. I look forward to our next chat.
And thank you to all our listeners. Remember to breathe, listen actively, and embrace the daily routine. We will see you next time on Daily English Conversations.
Goodbye, everyone.
Have a lovely day. And we're out. Great show today, Mrs. Lisa.
Yes, Jack. I think that went very well. Time for that cup of tea now, don't you think?
Definitely. Let's head over to the break room.